Okay, so we're gonna go over and review a few pieces of training, two different pieces of training material, like training tools that we've utilized with great success with Reese. I want you to know what these tools are, why we use them, how they work, and why they're being used in an effective way with your dog specifically. Every dog there's different things that make different dogs click, right? So certain dogs, there's just certain tools that work better. That's why you see certain dogs wearing prong collars, certain ones wearing slip leads, certain ones wearing harnesses. They all have their benefit. Okay, if we were training Reese to pull a cart, it'd be a harness, not a collar. If we were training Reese to walk on lead, it might be a buckle collar, it might be a slip lead, it might be a prong or a pinch or whatever, a star mark. Okay, now what we've used with Reese, basic stuff, right? Starter, we've been over this. Buckle collar, we do the buckle collar nice and easy, right? We put that on Reese and it's nice and thick. We're able to correct the dog without hurting the dog's neck. Leather buckle collar, he's got one fitted, it works great. We pair that with a 6-foot leather, right, buckle leash, or excuse me, 6-foot leather clip leash, just standard 6-foot leash. This clips onto the collar, right, boom. And then again, we have 6 feet of leash that we are going to be utilizing, okay? We'll go over how to hold the leash. A quick review here, is you hold it like this, you go across the body, but we'll go over that in the next video. We've also been utilizing a slip lead. Now this is a rolled leather slip lead. I believe it's a 1/2 inch or a 1/4 inch. This is extremely soft, supple leather. I really love these. They make them out of mountain climbing rope. They make them out of nylon rope, both of which I do not advise you use. Leather is supple, leather gives and holds, right? It's really good material. There's a reason we use leather on horses, right? Horses are much more sensitive. They're much more in tune with the material. If it works for a horse, it's definitely gonna be good for you and your dog. This is a 6-foot, right, leather slip lead. So if you notice this, it extends, right? Now there are 2 ways we use this, just to show you. This is my my demonstration dog right here. This was my dog when I was a little kid. So just to show you, right, give you an idea, we're using props, right? So just to show you, right, obviously we all know how a slip lead can go on. It can go on like that, right? It can go on just like that around the dog's neck, like a collar. Now, I suggest if you use it around a dog's neck that you go up high on the neck, right? You want it up high on the neck like that, so that when you slip it, it doesn't have to be heavy, right? We're not yanking on this thing, we're just touching it, okay? Now, even more, Reese still likes to pull with something like this. So what we're gonna do with a dog like that, and this is actually where this training tool comes in really handy, and I want you guys to possibly, I would recommend getting this moving forward over anything for the leash walking. Notice what I'm doing. I'm gonna extend this so it's extra long. I still have it on the back, the ring on the back of the dog's neck. Okay, and now I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna do what is called a power loop, okay? I think this was coined by Sherry Lucas, but it's the same thing, right? The power loop is gonna be, we're gonna have this on the dog standard, right? See that, standard? Now we're gonna loosen it up before we go out. Maybe we're gonna do a training session for heeled walking, which we'll go over, and we'll retouch on how to use this on the actual dog. But we're gonna extend it, and we're gonna, see the ring is in the back there still. We're gonna extend it, and we're going to twist it into a figure 8, and we're going to loop it over the snout of the dog, okay? And then with attention to where this sits, we don't want this to sit on the side. We don't want to get tangled up in his hair. We want it to sit right on the back, okay? High up on the back, and it will go around the dog's snout. Almost like a muzzle, but it will clear the mouth of the dog, okay? If we put it too far forward, the dog will take its paw and kick it right off. We don't want that. So we're gonna twist it, right? Boom. We're gonna bring it over the dog's snout, snug right there under the eyes, just like that, okay? And it's gonna come right back. Like I said, almost like a muzzle, but it's not a muzzle. and it's not as restrictive. Now, will the dog fuss the first few times you do this? Probably, but our goal with this is to just slowly walk the dog. And now what was maybe a very light correction with our arm can literally become this type of correction, super light. Now, what does that mean? We'll go over this in the next video, but when the dog is in the position you don't want, we apply a very light pressure. And then when the dog reaches the desired position, we're gonna release all the pressure, okay? We'll go over that. Say bye to our visual aid. Good job, buddy. But that's where the power in this tool comes from. And it is very helpful for Reese. Let's say we were doing a walking drill. You wanted to work on heeling, for instance, maybe with another dog. This is really good for when he's around the other dog, so that you can get him to focus on the task at hand, being in the right position and not focus on the dog without having to really do big corrections. That ties into with what we talked about earlier in the intro about picking your battles, right? Setting the dog up for success. These are both things. I don't want to have to overcorrect because I know my dog is going to get excited with the other dog that he hasn't seen in 6 weeks. Let's set up the power loop. Let's get Reese working where we have a very light-handed fix, okay? That's the slip lead. I will send you a link to this if you want it. Very effective training tool for Reese because he likes to push forward. He's a herding dog. He wants to push forward. Rather than get into a tug of war battle, we use the power loop. We take him on a walk for maybe 2 minutes. Let's say we're doing a 10, 15-minute walking drill. We might do this for 2 to 3 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes max. Take it off, put it on his neck only, right? Remove the loop over the snout. And now do the same drill with this just around his neck, right? And rather than it being super tight, it might just be, we might be walking with it like this. Because as long as he's where he needs to be, this doesn't have to be tight, right? Remember, there's no tension on the leash when the dog's in heel. There's only tension when he goes too far forward or too far back. But again, we'll address that in the heeling video. Another piece of, another tool we've been using is an e-collar. Now, this is the exact e-collar that Reese has been wearing. It's a mini educator, okay, by e-collar technologies. I don't know if you can see that, probably not. I'll send you a link to these. They cost about $250, anywhere from $175 to $250. They're really, really great. And we'll have a whole section about the e-collar. But just so you know, right, the e-collar turns on and off here, right? There's a little red button. And that red button matches this red, like concave part. And when you marry the two together, you'll see it turns off, it turns on, it turns off, it turns on. All right, once we have it on, we're gonna hit the button in the back and that's gonna turn on the power. So you'll see again, power off, right? Hold the button in the back, power on. This button here, what they call the rheostat or the dial, this will dial it up to, all the way up to 100 and all the way back down to 0. We work Reese anywhere from a 2 or 3 to a 5 to an 8. That just depends on the situation at hand, right? With a 4, that might be fine. You won't even feel it at a 4, right? I'm holding it right now. I'm tapping it. You don't even feel it at a 4. You won't feel it till a 20 as a human being. We work Reese around an 8 at max, maybe a 10 occasionally, but really he doesn't require that much. And this tool is never going to be used for punishment. Now I have layered this button here. This button says T on it. That stands for tone, but we don't use the tone setting. We use the vibrate function, which when I hit this, it vibrates. You can hear it vibrating the hardware. Okay, so every time I hit that, it vibrates. I'm holding it right now, it's vibrating over, right to that. Now we layer the vibrate function. It vibrates the way your phone vibrates, right? That you can layer with the no command and it is very effective. It's very, very effective. So this is the e-collar. We use this to apply positive punishment, which I know sounds weird, but positive punishment is essentially just pressure on, pressure off. If you look at this light is when we're using the actual stimulation feature, right? We have it at a 4 and we would tap it. So the same way I walk up and I will pull on something like this for the dog. I want the dog to sit. I might yank on this, right? That's pressure on. Troy, sit, right? And I pull on that, sit. And once I am compliant, the dog is compliant, we're gonna release the pressure, right? It's no different with this. We don't punish with this. We walk up to the spot to do sit and we say sit as we tap, okay? The dog will feel that pressure. They'll sit, and when they do, we'll release the pressure. We're not gonna say no. We're not gonna say, hey, re-sit and do nothing. Re-sit, do nothing, do nothing. No, Reese, no, sit. That's not it. It's Reese, sit. Good boy, right? We release the pressure upon compliance. We apply the pressure immediately, and we don't overdo it. We don't overuse these tools, okay? These are on the dog all the time because the dog is collar wise, but we do not just blast the dog with stimulation for an entire session. You're doing a 15-minute session, you might only use this twice, okay? So just understand it's a powerful tool, and it's a very, very effective tool if used correctly, and I will teach you how to use it correctly if you purchase one. But remember, it is not a tool for punishment. It is a tool to condition commands in your dog. Last tool that we've used with Reese that's very effective, well, second to last tool, he loves the Frisbee, loves the ball, loves retrieving. And we also have this retrieving bumper that we're using to teach him hold conditioning. Now, I'm gonna give you this because he's been learning with it the whole time. This is not to be thrown, not yet at least. This is not to be chewed on. This is his bumper for learning hold conditioning. And we're gonna go over that, right? We're gonna go over that in a different video, but just so you know, right? We have the dog here. Here's our visual aid again, hilarious, right? We're gonna roll this into the dog's mouth. The dog's gonna hold onto it, right? Hold, 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 drop. And then the dog will spit it out. If the dog is refusing like that, we're gonna roll it right into the dog's mouth. Hold, 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 drop. I know, I'm using puppets. It's crazy, but just trust me on this one. Do not devalue this by leaving it lying around. Do not devalue this by letting the dog chew on it. Do not devalue this by using it as a chuck it type of tool. This is specific to when you're gonna do hold conditioning. I don't want you using this for anything else but that, okay? Once the dog has completely learned hold conditioning and you're feeling very comfortable, yes, you can place this outside, do long range retrieves, you can throw it, but for now, we want the dog to grab it right here, hold it statically, and drop it when we say. That's all this is for. So those are the main tools we're reviewing, and we'll touch on some of those in more detail when we're using them in other instructionals, okay? Awesome.